Since the launch of Street Fighter 6, and honestly even before then, I've been hyped, and I was hyped to play Manon. This guy likes to stand in place a lot, he likes to turtle a lot, command grab, and we put him to the ground, command grab. For the longest time I've been up playing her abilities and being a D1 defender for her, in fact. But at this point I think it's time to let her rest for a bit. In this video, I'm going to go over why Manon is now a contender for bottom 3 in Street Fighter 6. Let's get into it. Let's not mince words, shall we? Let's get into it. So one of the biggest things, or one of the biggest changes that we experience now, is the fact that defense is unfortunately nerfed just due to the changes to perfect parry. If you're unaware of what changed about perfect parry, is that now you kind of have to stand block certain moves if they happen to go for them. What you now get off the situation is you get an imperfect parry instead of a real parry, right? And this causes big issue. Why? Because you might just be crouch blocking at the time, and instead of crouch blocking, you have to physically put yourself in stand block in order to get it. So this can pertain to a lot of moves in the game. This can also pertain to different Hashogeki, dealing with Hashogeki. This would also be headbutt. So the thing about this change is that it was specifically designed, perfect parry was specifically designed with these moves in mind. So that's so much so that if you were to tap parry on them throwing out such a large move or large button, then you would get caught out. However, now that they've made this change, they've systematically made perfect parry worse, which is what people were asking for. However, is this how we wanted it to go about? That's a different question altogether. So that is something that we have to keep in mind, especially because this character does not have a DP, right? If a character does not have a DP, they're more dependent on different options in order to keep them alive, especially when it comes to using parry and using different options like so. The next change that we did experience is unfortunately a change to mediums. This is more of another universal change that we kind of ate. This is where they added extra recovery to these things. Now, why is this a big change? It's because number one, our standing medium punch is like one of those buttons that you definitely want to gravitate towards just because it's forward advancing. And now that there's extra recovery on it and a little bit of an extended hurt box on it now, it makes it a little bit more difficult to press. And you may be thinking, oh, but Noza, that's just like, that's just skill, that's just skill. You gotta hold that. That's skill. Very true. Honestly, a fair assessment. However, there are other characters committing war crimes, and they're a lot stronger and a lot higher on the tier list. So then it begs the question, why do I gotta hold this while other characters don't? It's just that sort of thing, that sort of mentality behind these sorts of decisions. If we keep allowing certain characters to exist with certain things, it just makes it feel like they're contradicting themselves. That's kind of where I stand with it. The next thing I wanted to discuss is the crouching medium kick. The crouching medium kick used to do a lot better damage, especially when you got off of this setup, because what would happen is that you would get your hit, you would drive rush, either guess between command grab or the low, and then the low would give us some decent damage on top of it, right? And you could kind of play that game off of that situation. However, now that they've nerfed the damage on this option, it makes this option, while it's still usable, it's a lot worse than it once was. And just everything kind of layering on top of itself, making everything feel much worse, is the reason why I'm making a complaint about. Let's go on to the last thing I'm going to talk about, and that is when it comes to our win condition. Okay, let's talk about win condition here. When Manon plays the game, there's two things that you're working towards, and that is your medals and actively working down their drive gauge. Why do you want to work down their drive gauge? Because once they're here, we can bully them and then make them guess command grab and push them towards the corner and kill them outright. That was the win con. However, now that they've added one extra frame, now it puts everything out of whack. So what this means now is that we can't just get away with doing this because we'll get interrupted. Right? In the past, this was a loop. And you might be thinking, no, that this is cheap. You know what I mean? Like, you just press one button and you win. Do you recall how much I have to go through in order to get this win con? Unless you make a stupid decision to burn all your drive gauge, you'll be fine, right? In an ideal world. However, this being taken away from us, especially because there are other characters who have something similar where you can't do anything about this, right? This is incredibly unfair. We can also reference Aki for something similar. You might be saying, oh, but it's multiple different inputs. I'm like, it's the same outcome. It's the same outcome. Okay, with that being said, now that this option has been taken from us, it makes it a lot harder to do to hit our win condition off of this instance, right? Makes it a lot harder. Now you have to kind of go for wacky things like this and then kind of force it through that method. But either way, now there's not really, if I have to play this way anyway, then it's not really as strong of an option as it once was. And it honestly makes it not really as worth it to force them into burnout if I'm gonna make you guess off of stand jab or command grab anyway. Right? So that's kind of where it kind of boils down to. And these are just the nerfs. Let's just get into the buffs. We'll go right into it. Now these are my favorite, and if you can't hear the sarcasm in my voice, then that's on you. The PC pull-in. You might be thinking, oh, this is a good change for those who can whiff punish, right? This is good. This is good. Yeah, it's good. Okay. Tell me. What can I do off of this without spending resource? You tell me. Can I do kicks? No. Can I do medium kick? No. So basically my options are to use resource, right? Or it's just accept what it is and go for some sort of mix immediately afterwards, right? Let's say I don't want to spend meter. What if I'm one bar and I get the PC hit here? What am I supposed to do with it? I can't do anything with it. I literally can't do anything with it. You have to spend some sort of resource in order to make it worthwhile. Top of which, let's say I decide to use EX up kicks, right? I'm thinking, all right, it's time to get a medal. Nope. And these are the buffs. And this is the first buff we're going to talk about, because this right here is how the game was meant to be played according to Capcom. I wish I could tell you how. It's just a terrible feeling overall, especially because, you know, you did something right. You got the whiff punish, but now after that whiff punish, you got PC and you can't do anything with it unless you use resource. That sucks. That sucks. Let's lead us into the next target combo of discussion. This is the punish counter medium kick, medium punch into medium kick. Right? You might be thinking, oh shoot, like it's not bad, right? It's not bad, right? But here's the thing, right? You could get this, right? This is cool. But my question to you is that why would I ever choose this, right? Over either A, doing this, right? With not only number one does more damage, right? Number one does more damage, gets the same setup, right? Or alternatively, get a stock. You see where I'm coming from? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to do with this, right? This is better, right? This is better because now I can go for this, and it puts me in a good situation, right? Getting this is not great. I'm sorry, it's just not a good situation to find myself in. I can't do anything with this change. Okay, let's move on to the last change, and the last change is just like, wow, right? So let's say, you know, you hit one of these, right? Because, you know, you matched on a situation, you were successful. You are like a little type of reset type situation, right? Upkicks no longer launches you, and that's cool, you know, like, that's cool. Now what am I supposed to do with it? Right? Let's say we don't go that route, right? Let's say we go one. You get a steady medium punch, but just the way they designed Manon, a steady medium punch is not, unless you use resource, you're not really using it in this manner. You're not really using it as means. Like, the thing is that at most you can catch maybe a backdash or a jump back or jump forward in some cases. Some of you nuts are out there, right? But even if you get like a raw hit, you can't do nothing off of it. So I would press it, and let's say I get the hit, and unless I'm willing to come off of the resource in order to confirm it, there's nothing I can do, right? This change was useless. All the changes, they don't add too much value. The most I can say adds value is the standing heavy punch. This adds some value. However, when you hit it, you don't get a grab. You might be saying, oh, well, you know, you could do this. You know, this is not a bad option, right? This is not a bad option, right? Brother, I'm sorry, but now you just made me use drive rush amount of resource, drive rush cancel amount of resources in order to get that. I'm okay, man. Like, I was okay. Leave me alone. Honestly, if they let my character alone as is, I would have been straight too. It's just, these are just not good. And on top of which, defense feels worse. So it's just like, what was the goal? What was the vision, Capcom? With Perfect Parry being worse, I'm all for nerfing Perfect Parry. But again, Perfect Parry was integrated so thoughtfully into the system that any sort of drastic change will make the game look ugly. Lo and behold, we're in ugly season. Anyways, comment down below what you guys think about the changes to Manon. And with that being said, happy PCing.